Hello and welcome to Spy Money. We're going to talk about how to draw patterns in order to try to figure out which way the stock is going to go, the equity future, whichever you're trading. And we're going to talk about space, which is Virgin Galactic Holdings. And that's a real hot topic here lately. And if we look back at, say, the 1 day chart, this was a pattern that I had drawn originally, which is no longer um, good probably, but we can extend this out and get it to right there. And what I did was I went back, I'm touching this one, touching that one, and then it touched here, then it come down, touched there, and then it's really late on this trend. So it's possible that this is going to come out and hit this trend. And I really believe that's probably the direction we're going to go. And as you can see, indicators they're lagging, of course, but the MACD is already starting to curl down. You've got a lot of selling volume here. It was Thursday and Friday we had a bearish movement across the whole market, but I really believe that this is shot up so much so fast that it does need a pullback in order to get more momentum, because everybody was getting scared at the top of the skyscraper. No one wants to be at the top of the skyscraper and fall out the window. So let's go back to a 1 hour and let's look and see what it's doing by the 1 hour. As you can see, it popped up here, come down, had a drop there, and then it rallied back, and then it started dropping here, and it tried to rally again, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just dropped out. So what does all this mean as far as looking at the candles? How can you determine where this is going to go? So what I do is I look, I get a price level tool, which you can hit your center button and come down. Let's see, where is it on here? Right there. And then you can actually draw um, your look for a pattern. So what I'm looking for is across this bottom right here. Is there any kind of common candles that is touching? And if you look, this one here right at the bottom, these two, this one, and they're all kind of it's forming a support really. So if you come back here, and you can see this candle, it come up and touch there, and if you look all the way to the right, you can see it's going over through there. So you have two bodies right here, and so what we're trying to do is just find that support line, some common area. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to change the properties of it so that we can see it better. And what I did was I just right clicked on it and edit properties. So this yellow line will stand out more. And if you look, I mean, it's come down, it's touched there, it's touched right there, it's touched there. This one broke through, come back up. This one almost touched it, touched here, touched there, and then you got these two bodies, which is very important. And then you come back here, you've got two more candles that are touching it. So this is a pretty common support area. Now if you look, this is coming at an angle. So we're going to go ahead and go up here to trend line. If you do trend line, your middle button on your mouse and click right there. And then we're going to start from the top of that wick, and we're going to come down and see what it looks like. So if we come over here, there's not many candles touching it. There's a few. And then if you come down to here, there's a lot more candles touching it. So we're going to go ahead, come down to the yellow, and then come up and hit it. So we've got this one touched it, this one, that one almost, this one did, that one almost, this one did, and then you've got these up here. So what you want to do to find a trend is you want the line to be where the majority of the candles are touching it. These two didn't touch it, but it shot up and did here. So that's okay, because there's not this is almost flat across anyway. So what we're looking for is a common line where the candles are going up and testing that trend and popping down. Now this is a let me right click that and then edit, and we'll change this one to yellow. Alright, so by looking at this is called a descending triangle. A descending triangle is a bearish pattern, and when you look at this in after hours, it popped up a little bit, but this is after hours. I mean, you count it, but you don't count it as much as you do something that is on the main part. This is on Friday. There's a lot of people, and those are selling. I mean, that's selling off. So it actually closed at the top of this trend line. What I suspect is that on Monday, this is going to sell off. Now, there's another thing you can do, and that's called Fib Lines. And I've made another video on that. And I've got a little tab up here. But if you hit your center button, come down to here, and you hit your retracements. If you start at the top and come down, that is if you think the stock's going to go up. But if you think it's going to go down, you start from the bottom. And you want to start from the low, which is this is the low of this rally. And then you want to take it up here and click there. Now if you look, you'll see that this 618, that's the number one fib line that I use. I call that the money one. If it come down and had touched that and then started bouncing up, then I would think we're going to keep on going. But it touched it, broke through it, and now we're down below it. So to me, that is more bearish than if it had stayed above it. So if we had come down how this one touched and then it started coming up here, then I would agree that that is probably more bullish. And if we go to a 15-minute, you can see that it's coming down. It went up, tested it, come down, tried to break through, but the sellers pushed it back down. So we're going down in my opinion. And adjust this one here out a little bit. And what I'm doing is I was looking at this candle right here to make sure it stays on the top of that. But you can see it even touched right there and come down. It touched here, popped up, touched, and it keeps on coming down. So it's testing the top of it. And there's a good chance that it might take off and go up. Because this is a bearish descending triangle, doesn't mean that it's going to go down. But when I look at, if I look at the 1 hour, and then I come back over here, I made another video on how to read the 15 and the 50 and the 180 EMAs and SMAs. But the 15 is getting ready to cross this 50 right here, okay? And that's on the 1 hour. So that tells me that it's probably coming down too. There's a chance that this might curl back up, but if that 15 crosses that 50, then our next stop is this down here. Where do I think it will go? And everybody can say wherever they want. It's purely a guessing game as far as where the stock's going to go, because no one really knows. But just based off of the descending triangle and my fibs, and you've got the 180 here, and if we go back, let's see here. Let me do. So I can get this trend line that we drew earlier. So let's make that a yellow too, so we don't get confused. So you've got the descending triangle, and then you've got this trend coming off of that big old long part we drew originally, and then you've got the 180. What I think is this will probably drop out and come down to here. So if we hit this trend and pop up, then it'd be bullish again, I believe. But the 618 is right here, so there's a chance this might just drop down to here and then come over to the next day and then come down and hit over here. So I think that it's going to be going down. We won't know until Monday for sure, but if I was putting money on this, I would have puts on it. And as far as the way it is now, I want to see if it's going to break below this bottom trend. And now you can see it pop down and then pop back up. So it would have to come down and stay along the 3144 area before I would actually get into long puts. But I think when this thing breaks that, it's just going to drop quick, pretty much like this up here. And that is my thoughts on it. And whether it be right or wrong, no one knows until the market opens. But as far as doing the patterns, only thing you can do is try to do patterns and do your fibs and try to get some trend lines going to where you can see where things are going. And if we go back to the daily, You can see our trend is coming up through here. This may, turn around and pop back up. This may just be a little pullback. Where space is a sort of a cult following, kind of like Tesla, then it's hard to say what'll happen, because you've got people that just follow this, and they just keep on dumping money in regardless of the retail. Right now, the only thing pushing it down was the institutions, and when the institutions get involved, they far outweigh the retail, which the retail is just us individual people. We're the retail. Institutions would be the banks and large corporations and so forth. I think they want it to come down so that they can get a better buy on it. There's a chance it may not come all the way down to this trend. It may just go ahead and come down to maybe this 180. And if we draw, just trying to get an idea of where it would be. I mean, it's not 100%, but it's probably right here. So there's a chance it may come down and just hit like the 28.71 and then just bounce back up. There's that chance as well. But that's how we draw patterns. That's a descending triangle. A triangle is where you have a horizontal line and a angled line. And it can be 45 degrees or whichever. It doesn't really matter about the degree. But when you can find a strong support going all the way across where it's horizontal, and then you have this angle, then that is going to be a descending. Now, an ascending would be if you had all the candles in here, then this would be a bullish movement. So when the candles got up to here, then it would take off. That would be a bullish pattern. So hopefully that helps you as far as this particular one. I'll do some more pattern videos on different stocks and see if we can find a pattern on something else that's been traded. And maybe that'll help you actually see them. If you draw these trend lines, it'll actually help you as far as trading it. You could be scalping in here. So when it popped up here, then you could be shorting it and come down and go back and forth. Horizontal patterns even better, which is going to be where the candle is going, or the market is going like this. If you get a horizontal pattern, you can make all kinds of money in that, because it's almost a given that's going to stay there. Now, eventually, it's either going to break out to the top or break out to the bottom. So, you're better off to have some sort of stop in there, to where if it does, then you'll get out of the trade. So, but if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Comments, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and let's make some money. Have a good day.